Welcome back to the Falcon Dive. We are glad you are joining us for our first episode of with our Communication Studies department on campus. So we have some very special guests with us today who we're going to get to know through this time together. So why don't we go ahead and have our guests introduce ourselves. Jennifer, would you mind starting?
Not at all. So Jennifer Willis-Rivera, I'm a professor of communication studies on campus. Been here for 16 years.
Great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm Grace Coggio. I'm also a professor of communication studies. I can't recall how many years I've been here. Loved every minute.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, I'm Scott Mitchell. I'm also a professor of communication studies here. I've been here for 2 years now.
2 years, nice. And obviously you all know me. I am John's co-host, Nicole. Welcome back to the Falcon Dive, everybody.
Yeah, so we will get started with some questions the staff we have with us today. So first, could you just tell us a little bit about your program and what makes them unique on our campus?
Communication Studies is a great program because it's really flexible. We do things that touch every aspect of almost any career. So that's really awesome.
The thought that came to my mind was truly fun. We all, the faculty all engage one another. Students come into our offices. We engage with the students. We share tips. We have a lot.
We have pie throwing contests.
Yes,
oh, wow.
love it. I'm a communication studies major, so I totally get it.
Yes, Nicole is my student. Fun fact.
In my classes too.
That's right.
Scott, I missed out, but
I know you totally
it's okay.
did.
You can always come by anytime you want.
See,
something on.
Slip right in.
All right, so the next kind of question for y'all, now that we know a little bit about communication studies, is what would you say is a favorite class that your students have taken or really enjoyed? Anybody have a spot there?
Yeah, students of mine have really enjoyed taking our Common Tech class, where we have students working with how your communication interactions change because of technology.
Oh.
What's really fun about that class is a lot of our classes are very student driven and motivated. So whatever you're interested in, we like to tailor the class to that, especially with their projects. So I've had students do projects on dating apps, video games, VR, really anything that's changing the way that you're connecting with people. We give them the opportunity to engage that with their classes.
Ooh, that sounds like fun content. Scott, I really am missing out.
I know, right?
I would say that I try to teach my classes in a way that where students really develop their skills, and they really think about how can I use what I'm learning, as Scott was talking about, how can I use what I'm learning in this class in my career, in my future, and developing myself. So one that comes to mind right now, because I'm teaching it, is leadership communication, where students develop their own leadership development plan. What kind of leader do I want to be? What kind of ethics are going to be folded into that? And I really help them to think about that, so that when they go out for interviewing and start looking at job opportunities, they can talk about the kind of leader they are and want to become.
I would say one of the classes, so we have Alumni Day where alumni come back every semester, and that's a question that we always ask them is, you know, what classes were valuable to you now that you're out in the world? And nonverbal communication, surprisingly, always comes up on the list. And it's funny because we don't think about that as being an essential skill, but it really is. But it's also a class where we get to have a lot of fun. So we have dress in a way that you don't normally dress for class day, where we talk about clothing. And I've had people come, I think my favorite one is somebody came in a big sumo wrestler outfit where but it's like they weren't really in a sumo wrestler. Like it was one of those big blow up things where it's got a pump going through it and everything. But it really gets them to understand how clothing communicates.
So
right?
I have to say, I've seen students on campus and, other semesters, I see a student and I'll look at them and they're wearing something really different, or they're just looking different. I'll say, you must be in Jen's nonverbal.
Yeah.
They always say, yup.
Yeah, everybody always knows when it's dressed in a way you don't normally dress for class day. So, yeah.
Excellent. Love it.
For our next question, we talk a lot at the university about the importance of internships and research. So anyone be able to share some maybe interesting or very cool internships or research projects that your students have?
Yes, I have one. I've been thinking about. This is my favorite research project ever. So we have a program at the university called Study Abroad Europe, where a student goes abroad on their own. I mean, they have a leader over there who connects with them, but they go over there and they do research on a big project. And I had someone who studied fan culture at Spanish football, aka soccer, games. And so she went to soccer games in Spain for an entire semester and studied fan culture. I mean, her paper was amazing, but it was just so much fun. So that's the cool thing about communication. You can study anything, because communication happens everywhere.
All around.
Not a bad semester.
I know, right? Gosh, I have to go abroad and watch football.
Rough.
I know, right?
I was leading a group of students this past spring abroad to Europe. It's something called International Traveling Classroom, where you go and you study in Europe with a cohort of about 20 students and you move from city to city. And there was one of our students in this cohort who, for an independent study, was looking at how, because of the virus crisis and as that emerged, she wanted to look at how that was communicated and how people were learning about it while we were in Europe. And then when we got back in the States, she wants to compare it to, well, how were people in the US learning about this crisis, and how comparison, contrast. And so that's on the ground and running with these.
Yeah.
That's riveting content. That's really
that is.
So you had mentioned that the sky's the limit for communication studies majors, lots of different opportunities. Could you speak a little bit academic-wise? What are some of the different options for students as far as emphasis areas or majors and minors that they might be able to choose from in order to reach their goals?
Well, my snarky answer always is, you can do anything with communication except accounting and brain surgery. So, you know.
Yes, you can. I can speak from experience.
But it really is almost the sky's the limit. We've had students create their own opportunities, create jobs where there wasn't one before. One of my favorite stories is I had a student a while ago who wanted to live in Chicago. And she went down to Chicago to the Board of Tourism, I think it was. And she said, you know, hey, well, who do you have to do event planning for your big groups that come here? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, wait, you don't have anyone who does that? Are you crazy? This person could do X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And they hired her for a job that didn't exist at that point. She basically created it. So,
wow, that's fun.
Yes.
One of the things we help our students do from the get-go when they come into the major, we get them thinking. They don't have to be absolute, but we get them thinking, what do you want to do with this degree? And we help them to gain the skill sets, the experiences, internships, independent studies, all sorts of things to develop those skills, and then to tell their story and to be able to do exactly what this student did, if they're so inclined, to go out and say, here's what I can do. Here's what I can bring to you.
Mm-hmm. Now, Nicole, if I'm remembering correctly, I think you had a fun minor when you were a student in the Comm Studies department. Would you want to share what your minor was?
I did. Jen, I'm sure you can recall this, but I actually did I believe it's called the option.
Yeah, the option B minor.
Yeah. Hand-picked classes across the entire university and created.
Yes, you did.
Jen, I don't know if you remember the title of my minor, but I was dramatic with it. My minor was called Universal Elements of the Human Experience.
Wow.
That sounds like you, Nicole.
It was a lot. So just know that's something y'all can do as well. It's a fantastic opportunity on our campus if you really have interests that sprawl across the board. I mean, I think as advisors, all three of you could attest to that, really kind of catering to your future students. So it was fun for me. It was a little dramatic, but so am I. So
yeah, I was going to say, so are you.
You know, that set you that set you apart, Nicole. That set you apart. You were able to tell a really fascinating story. People remembered you, you know, when you go on your interviews. So, yep,
it was
awesome.
worthwhile. Thank you all for your help with that back in the day.
You're welcome.
All right, next question would be advice. This is a big one. What advice would you give to our future Falcons? Anyone that might be interested in UWRF? What advice can you give them?
Scott?
I would say first, find opportunities to join a club, join something unrelated to classes and coursework that just gets you doing something you're interested in. And if it doesn't exist, build it. Find a faculty member and we'll help you figure out a way to build that group. I've done it a few times with my students already. There's
tell them what you're the advisor of.
Yeah, I'm the advisor of the potluck club. To create a potluck club. There's also, there's all sorts of student organizations that are related to people's interests and identities. We also have people who created the Super Smash Club. They all get together and play Super Smash Bros. On their Nintendo Switches once a week. So really you can do anything you want. And college is already a pretty intimidating experience. So find that interest first and then pursue your academics as well, obviously.
Great advice. Yeah.
I'd say connect with your professors. I mean, we're a teaching campus. We work at this university because we really like students and we really like interacting with them. So connect with your professors. We're not scary. Most of us.
You guys aren't scary.
No. But yeah, I mean, it's really important because when you can connect one-on-one with your professor, then we can help you to kind of figure out what you want to do, how you want to do it, what are some things that might work, what are some things that aren't. We can tell you all the dumb mistakes we made because everyone thinks like, oh, they were the best students in their class. They were the valedictorians. They got all A's. So connect with your professors. They're real people, but we can help you. We can help you.
So in the same vein of y'all being so accommodating and available to your students, do you all have any fun stories about a student you worked with or their journey through college or your own journey through college?
I would say my experience, like I'll talk about myself, really relates to what Jen just suggested of really connect with your professors.
Yeah.
As I was going through my undergrad, I, like a lot of students, didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I was very confused and I felt really lost. And at a certain point, I found a professor at my undergrad institution who was very open to working with me and like asking me those hard questions of what it is that you want to do. And that person and those experiences really changed my life and got me on track to where I am today. And was very helpful. And that has really informed why I really love UWRF, which is that we are so committed to helping you figure out what your path is, even though it's going to go in different directions, but really asking you what you want. So that really helped me. And like a lot of students who are going into college today, I had no idea where I was going. I was changing majors, and that person helped me figure that out.
Again, a question to get you thinking back a little ways, back to maybe when you were either in college or a time when you were maybe working in the field. What's a lesson that you have learned that you might want to share with some of our prospective students?
I would say push your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it. Even little steps, even little, oh, I don't know if I want to take a leadership role in this organization, or I don't know if I want to take that class. Just a little bit, push your boundaries. It's amazing where you're going to go.
Mistakes are how you learn.
Oh my gosh, I was literally just going to say that.
Brain. Do it, Scott.
No, just like those moments where you make a mistake or you're wrong in class, you raise your hand, and you say something that might not be the answer to the question. Though that's learning, and it's scary to do that, but those are the moments where you actually grow. So all three of them our comments kind of coincide together. Take risks, take a chance, and that's where you see growth as a person. So that really helped me.
Okay, Okay, so to bring this phenomenal conversation to a close, we had some fun little questions we wanted to throw your way, just to get to know a little bit more about you. And again, we're all human, so I just thought this could be kind of fun. Jen, my question for you, okay, drum roll. Would you rather only be able to whisper or always have to shout?
I think I always shout already. So my family, oh my God, so we're home, right? We're home. My husband, who works at a different college, is also home. I'm in the family room. He's in the kitchen. We have a tiny house. When we have meetings, we cannot be in the same, he's like, you're loud. Loud. My daughter, who's on Australia time, because she had come back from Australia, her bedroom, telling you, tiny house. So finding a spot where people can't hear me. So yes, shout all the time, because if I had to whisper all the time, I think I would curl up and die. So.
All right, so next, Scott, I've got a question for you. Would you rather be an unknown hero or a famous villain?
Oh, I would rather be an unknown hero. I don't really like the spotlight all that much, and I would prefer to be helping people rather than getting fame by hurting others. So that sounds a little better in my frame of reference.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. Okay, so final question for Miss Grace. Grace, what makes you roll your eyes every time you hear it?
How about when I get up every morning and my 19-year-old cat says, meow, feed me. I'm like, oh, God. I'm sorry, how long are you going to live? She's become really senile, and the food is in front of her. She has food, and she doesn't realize she has food, and she's always begging. And so, yeah, sorry that every morning I'm rolling my eyes.
But Grace has a very, very old cat, and she also has a small cow.
Oh,
yeah, my Great Dane. I'm a
Oh,
it's also super old.
It's a cow. It's black and white spotted. I swear to God, it's a cow.
So we'll often, for our department, we'll bring all the students, all of our majors. I have a small pool in the back, and students will all come and gather, and we'll have a big party. Sometimes we have it on campus or in the park in town, depends. But we do like to bring students together and form really strong community and get to know one another. So that's another thing that we do as a department. And you can meet my dog then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you three so much for spending some time with us today. Obviously, learning about the major and more and all of you has just been fantastic. Any final message from y'all?
Yeah, students, we're still here. Call us, email us. If you call our phones, right, our office phones, and you leave a message, it goes straight to the email. So call us, email us. We're here for you. If you have any questions, if you want to share any stories, if you want to share pet pictures.
I'd say go Falcons.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.